Hello everybody. Today I would like to talk about a supplement called P.E.A. P.E.A. stands for many things, but in our case, today we're going to talk about PalmitoylEthanolAmide. And here's the word, right here. And I wonder if you can possibly read that. It's a long word, and I like to write it with 3 words. Palmitoyl, ethanol, ethanol, amide, amide, and I put a space between each word. Now, they added the little K just to be whimsical, I suppose, like as in peak performance. And P.E.A. is found in egg yolks. And back in the mid-20th century, they did some tests and found that, I believe it was 4 egg yolks. That was what I gathered. 4 egg yolks per day would protect children from getting rheumatic fever symptoms, even if they were infected, compared to the control group who did not have egg yolks, and they who got infected with rheumatic fever would have the symptoms. So that made the people sit up and take notice. What is in egg yolks? And they discovered that it was palmitoylEthanolAmide, which is a natural compound which can be produced, and it exists in other plants. I made a few notes on the side to remember that this supplement has no known side effects and no drug interactions are known. And there are 350 research papers describing the benefits of palmitoylEthanolAmide. It helps with sleep onset in that it lowers the time it takes to fall asleep when you are taking it regularly. It improves cognition, and it has a significant reduction in pain symptoms, and it generally makes you feel good, and it makes you have a good mood. This particular supplement is a 400 milligram P.E.A. per capsule, and they recommend to take 1 capsule 3 times daily, with or without food, or as directed by a qualified healthcare practitioner. Do not crush, blend, or mix the capsules. Swallow the capsule whole. Now I'm going to discuss with you how P.E.A. has helped me and my father-in-law, many other people. I'll start with my father-in-law. He asked me to research this because he has carpal tunnel and he's in much pain. He's waiting for surgery on both of his hands or arms, and it bothers him at night, mostly keeps him awake all night, and he didn't even sleep for like a week because he was in such pain. And I guess he might have asked the natural care, clerk if they had any recommendations, so he came home with some brochures. And so he asked me to research this because I'm the scientific person of the family nerd. So gladly I looked this up, and I looked up, there was a couple more brochures he gave me. One was on ashwagandha, which many people take for sleep, And I told him that might help him as well, for the sleep only, not for the pain. Although I cannot take ashwagandha, it makes my heart pound, and I don't like that effect, and I think maybe I need a higher quality supplement. I was taking the ground up leaves, I believe, and I think I need a purified version. But there was another thing he had me look up. Well, I can't quite remember what it was. This was the one that stood out for me because of all the wonderful effects with mood and pain reduction, cognition improvement, and sleep onset. And I believe there might have been some neuroprotective abilities to help you not get any kind of a nerve disease, such as, the diseases of aging of the brain, so we won't get into those. But you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so let's just talk about the purified food ingredient called P.E.A. that is in this supplement. This gluten-free, non-GMO vegan supplement. You get 90 capsules, 400 milligrams each, for approximately, I think I paid $47 on Amazon for this. And my father-in-law got his own bottle at a nearby store for $44, so it's in that range. Now, I found that a single pill taken at noon with my main meal of the day produced for me tachycardia at night while I was sleeping. And that was the only thing I changed. And that's what happened. And I repeated it 2 or 3 times, so I know it was this gave me tachycardia. So I decided to take a half a dose, and then I went to a third of a dose, and I kept going down and down until the tachycardia went away. And then I decided to take 3 really, really small doses. So let me tell you what dose works for me. Very low for me. I would say I take a microdose, and it gives me wonderful benefits. So that means that this would last me probably over a year. I haven't really calculated how long it would last me, but I take about a 10th or a 20th of this pill per day. So this pill would last me, almost 3 weeks. So, all right, so my father-in-law, however, takes 1 full pill before bed, and he says it keeps him pain-free throughout the night until, and I think he goes to bed around 10 p.m. So he's pain-free until about 4 a.m. So it keeps the pain away for 6 hours, and then from 4 a.m., maybe it's 5 a.m., but whatever, he's going to get up anyway because his arm will start hurting, and so he has to get up and move his arm around, get the circulation going. And then he'll take another one with his breakfast at probably 8, and then he feels good for the rest of the day. And he says his pain doesn't bother him as much during the day because he's moving around and he's got his circulation going because of that movement, and it seems to not really sneak up on him until he's sleeping. So this is his sleep aid and his pain aid. And so that was my father-in-law. So 2 pills a day for him. Now I have a little pill holder, and this is actually a game, a little Dollar Tree game, and it has little pieces in it. So what you do is you make tic-tac-toe. You set it like this, I guess. Actually, I'm not sure. I didn't use it for that though. I used it to hold my pills. I would open a bunch of empty capsules and place them in here in a row like that, and I would take 20 of them and then 1 pill, and then I would take a little measuring spoon, and let me go get that measuring spoon. Show it to you. So this is a set of measuring spoons that I got on Amazon, and there was a 1/8 teaspoon, which is bigger than this one, and that was the large one, and I took that off because I really bought this set because I needed a 1/8 inch teaspoon. But I find these are very useful, and sadly it doesn't tell you the volume of these. Dash, pinch, smidgen, and drop. So the drop is probably a standard water droplet size. I don't know what this volume is, but it doesn't matter because I know that there's 20 smidgens in a 400-gram pill. And to be honest, it's actually 19 smidgens. But I rounded it off because the error is so small. So it turns out that 1 smidgen, therefore, is 400 divided by 20, which is 20 milligrams per smidgen. So there's 1 400 milligram pill per 20 smidgens equals 20 milligrams per smidgen. So now I take 20 milligrams twice or 3 times per day. So I took a little, this is a little plastic, you know when you buy a little spray container and it has a little lid? I saved this little lid because I knew I might need it for something someday. So I saved it because it's very small and it holds my 1 pill. I emptied the pill inside. That's 1 pill. I think I've taken 2 smidgens out, but that's essentially 1 pill almost. So every time I want to dose myself with P.E.A.k, 20 milligrams, I just dip my little spoon in like that, and then I shake it on top of some food I'm eating. And the reason they say to keep it in the capsule is because the taste is bad and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But personally, I find that the small amount, if you mix it with something like whatever you're eating that's wet, like for example yogurt, which I don't eat, but like tomato sauce or a piece of banana, that's a good one. You can kind of bury it in the banana. Then when you chew the banana or eat the tomato sauce, it's really, you can't really taste it. There's a little bit of flavor, of sort of a salty flavor, but I haven't like put it on my tongue as a powder form because I know it would be pretty bad. But I feel like I don't really want to eat a bunch of these, whatever they are, vegetarian capsules. It's just putting more and more gum into my intestines, and it's not natural. So if I can, I prefer just to eat the powder. But you can do however you want. Most health food stores have bags of empty capsules. If you want to put this in a capsule, you know, that works for you. Most people would probably opt to do that. If they're like me, I'm a very sensitive person, and I don't normally take the full amount of any vitamin for that matter, because I tend to get nauseous when I take the full amount of any kind of vitamin. So I always buy vitamins in capsules so I can open them up and measure out smaller amounts. So that's how I dose my P.E.A.k, 20 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day, but I'm kind of leaning towards 2 times a day. I noticed when I took 1 full pill, I would see very wild hypnagogic images at night, which is something that happens for me when I'm under the influence of some mind-altering substance. And so I would say that I'm very sensitive to this. Now, I think that people like me that are very sensitive are the types of people that are also gluten sensitive, perhaps have a leaky gut, and perhaps have a leaky blood-brain barrier. And that's why we can sense things at microdoses that other people may not be able to sense. I consider it a strong advantage because I can sense whether food is toxic or not, and that's very important to me. However, I often envy people that don't have this ability because they can just eat anything they want and, enjoy life more, They don't even know that it's toxic, and maybe it doesn't bother them because they don't have a leaky gut, so I envy those people, but since I have this, I'm going to be happy about it. It's just a matter of attitude, right? So this is my experience with P.E.A. Now, I would also like to tell you what other people say. First of all, there's very little information available because it hasn't really taken off yet. But it is an anandamide. And that means is our body has a set of systems. We have an organ system. We have a circulatory system. We have a lymph system. We have a nervous system. We have many systems in our body. We also have something called the endocannabinoid system, and it balances many, many, many things in our body. And anandamide is one of the endocannabinoids that we manufacture naturally in our bodies. And people with migraines typically are lacking in the natural endocannabinoids, such as anandamide, and there are others, but they're generally low in these, and these people get migraines. So it is one of the reasons why P.E.A. helps you get rid of your migraines, because it gives you anandamide and other endocannabinoids that you're missing. And I wish there was a way to do it with foods, and there actually is if you eat 4 egg yolks a day, but you may rather take the small amount of powder as a natural supplement to ensure that you get it. With our busy lifestyle, maybe we can't have access to eggs if we're camping in the forest, for example. So, and also, how do we know these days that the egg yolks contain the right amount of P.E.A.? By the way, P.E.A. is not anandamide. It is converted somehow to anandamide and other endocannabinoids in our body, and I'm not here to talk about the biochemistry of that, although there are 350 research papers that have looked into all this. And if you have some kind of a college account where you can access all research papers, then I guess you could look that up. But PubMed often only gives the abstract, and even more often they don't even give the abstract. They just give the title of the paper, so I can't find that information right now because I'm not a university professor at this time. So a lot of people online, and when I say a lot, maybe 3 or 4 at the most videos on P.E.A. And a lot of the videos on P.E.A. are about different P.E.A.s. Like, I think there's an amino acid that P.E.A. stands for, and that's not the same. And there's a couple other things that it stands for. But in terms of the 2 or 3 or 4 videos on the compound in here called PalmitoylEthanolAmide, a couple of them are some of the young males that study and try nootropics, and from their honest assessment, they're doing very high doses, and some of them claim that they get like a high or a rush, and I can see why, because they're giving their body an unnatural level of anandamide. Maybe they take 3 pills at once, and that's not the purpose of these pills, and it's also not my intention. But they don't really claim any kind of a benefit other than just getting high for 10 minutes, because the half-life is about 10 minutes. So I think after, you take the pill, wait 30 minutes, and then you get like 10 or 15 minutes of a high. That's interesting, but I'm not too interested in that. So I think the reason they don't get long-term pain relief is because they don't have pain. Typically, when you're a young male that works out regularly, does a lot of nootropics, and you're just really health conscious and everything, trying to optimize your brain and sleep right, you're not going to live a life of pain. However, if you've had a lot of injuries in your life because you're one of those daring type, and you reach a certain age, maybe 30, 40, 50, living on those damaged joints can start to cause pain in your later years. And so therefore, most of us daredevils do have some pain in our later years when our kids are grown, for example. The weather changes, we might get some aches and pains, for example. My father-in-law has the carpal tunnel that just gives him horrible pain, for example. These are the kind of people that are going to benefit from the pain-relieving properties of this. Maybe if there's younger people that might have some kind of tendency to have MS flare-ups, or maybe you have a low back pain, which actually I had low back pain when I was in my 20s from, believe it or not, anger, suppressed anger. And it was a muscle tension thing, but I would have benefited from this. I know I would have, but I didn't know about it. They didn't sell it back then. It also helps with mood, and if you have PTSD or depression, I think you might want to give this a try, because it can help you cope with life without having to take, for example, marijuana. Because marijuana, which has CBD and THC and other non-psychoactive compounds and psychoactive compounds, it can have certain side effects, such as maybe the pesticides in it, or maybe other things that build up. The THC turns to CBN, which gives a lot of people headaches, or, they call it foggy brain. This actually helps remove fog brain and balances your endocannabinoid systems in a way that's non-psychoactive unless you take super high doses. So I think it's useful if you are a marijuana user but you don't like the side effects of marijuana. Let's just say you take Charlotte's Web, but it makes you sleepy. This might be something to try. Let's say you take a 50-50 blend of CBD and THC for pain, and it's just a little too psychoactive for you. This may be a good substitute, so that you don't have to even buy marijuana, which is quite expensive, depending on how much you use. For me, if I'm only going to use 1 pill a month, this would last me many years. Probably, 4 years or something. And it says lot expires 2025. Wait a minute, yeah, so that's 3 years from now. So I guess it would last me until it expired. But that's not very expensive, is it? Even if it costs $44, because you're still only paying 50 cents a pill, right? So that's all. There's one wonderful video on the endocannabinoid system and how P.E.A.k. can help with many, many aspects of it, and I would recommend that for you to watch that video, and it's like a slideshow, and I will try to put that in the description below. If it's not there when you watch the video, come back in a week and I'll find it. That video is what made me decide to try it. And it's the one and only truly informative video out there. Although, I mean, the young men doing nootropics was informative in that it helped me understand the context, that it's maybe really for people with injuries and or depression and or pain and or problems with sleep. I was very interested in that it sped up sleep onset. I find that I am sleeping much better, and I was trying inositol to try to improve my sleep because I had been up a lot, because the Schumann resonances have been off the charts every single night for the past month. And inositol made me very nauseous, even at microdoses. So, sadly, I can't really take that. But this has given me my sleep back. So, I also had fibromyalgia pretty bad, where I was just used to it. I would have shooting pains every day in my wrists, especially in the winter, but also in the summer. And I have no shooting pains now. I sleep perfectly. I do not need other medications for depression. This is substituting my need for anything else. And that's really all I can ask for. I think it's I would say that since I don't have to use any other medications, my cognition has vastly improved. And my mood is pretty consistently good. And I can say this after using it for one day I felt this way, and an entire month later. So I've been on it for a full month, and it's continually helping me. And this is only taking it at 40 milligrams per day, which is approximately 1/10 of a pill per day. And since they recommend 3 pills per day, I would say that I'm taking 1/30th of their recommended dose. So at 1/30th of the recommended dose, if it helps me that much, I think it's worth trying. I would say if you're very sensitive, watch out for side effects such as the tachycardia. I think my tachycardia is the only known side effect ever reported, because none have ever been reported, and I'm very, very sensitive, so that's probably why. Most people just wouldn't be even affected by a full pill, except that it would help their pain. But I don't need very much, and it works wonders. Okay, well, thank you so much for letting me tell you about this, and I hope this has been useful for you so that you don't only just have the videos that are out there, but you have my testimonial that's personal and, real, and my father-in-law's testimonial. So, thanks for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful, pain-free, and sleep-filled evening tonight after you try this. And no, I'm not getting paid in any way, shape, or form for sharing this. I'm just sharing this because I love you and I want you to be happy with minimum drugs. Okay.